examiner's full name is Muhammad Ragil, also known as Sir Ragil, born in Ujung Pandang, 13th May 1989, with an educational history of S1 English Education, FKIP Universitas Muhammadiyah Makassar, and SMP Negeri 33 Makassar, and is currently an English teacher in SMA Islam Athirah 1 Makassar. Continuing to the second examiner, we have Muhammad Nur Abdullah, S.Pd, M.Pd, born in Ujung Pandang, 26th of October 1982, and has 3 kids. Some of his formal educational history consists of S1 to S3 in UNM. In his informal educational history, he has done many courses and practices. Currently, he is a lecturer in Universitas Kokrowa Minoto, Makassar. Okay, before we start, I will invite Rayhanul to come onto the stage. Rayhanul will be presenting his research presentation named An Exploratory Case Study on the Existence of Cybercrime in the Rise of Technology and its Threats to Our Nation.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to this visualization of my research paper regarding cybercrime. I welcome the adjudicator today on this visualization or presentation on today's show or on today's event. And also I welcome the audience in here today that are likely to get their attention on this specific material. Before I take much of my time, I would like to acknowledge some things that first, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful of all, that we may utter special thanks to God itself, to the grace given at all cost to its ummah, and not to forget to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who may have given us peace and blessed be upon him, to his family and his followers. I would like to also express my gratitude to all of my mentors, to all of my colleagues, and all of those who have helped this research to be made possible. Now, regarding this research paper, my material is distinctly created on the base that cybercrime has been happening on this episode of past years in Indonesia especially. Now, in this table of contents, we can see I'm going to talk about an overview of this research regarding the background, why they specifically choose this specific material. And second, I will explain the methods given in this specific method study case that I'm using quantitative research. I will explain more widely on that. And lastly, I will show you the beneficial reports and data given to you that how the awareness rate for Athirah SMA Islam Athirah 1 Makassar are necessary indeed. But before I take much longer of my time, first of all, I would like to explain that many of my colleagues have been asking, many of my mentors even, through the making of this research, ask me or keep questioning my reasoning behind this specific title. Well, at first I just keep saying that it is an important matter, but I think that wasn't good enough. But well, in this matter, let me show you how the government will describe it simply. First, we got this one, our cyber police that just happening in the beginning of 2022. And then we got another one, another one, another one. This one was 2 weeks ago, and another one was 2 weeks ago. This one 7 days ago. This one also 7 days ago. And this one still 7 days ago. Still 7 days ago. And this last one are 2 days ago. Now, in this particular matter, you can already see that this thing or this specific matter are important indeed. Most of these headlines are actually real. Most of this headline has been on the surface not too long ago. And this problem has been around and being keepingly ignored by the populace and by all citizens indeed. Now, let me explain why this is another big problem of us. We've heard about COVID before. It's been a big problem that have been affected our life, that give our daily life a full change from 0 to 100. But same as cybercrime, we innocently ignore that this thing also rise over our transition from being offline to online. and over the rise of technology, cybercrime has also been indeed increasing. Cybercrime is just like COVID. It has been around for so many years, but we still innocently ignore it. It's evolving over time, even its definition itself. And just like COVID, it's still around even right now, but the difference between COVID and cybercrime, COVID has its vaccine, but cybercrime still has not found its vaccine till now, and that's our main problem today. In this research paper, I explained that the key issue for this specific study case is that we can create a scaling or an awareness rate around cybercrime that are associated with general issue, so we can analyze, clarify, and define the specific matter, all variables regarding cybercrime itself, what's the stakeholder regarding cybercriminals, histories and experience, other classification, and more. Regarding the benefit itself, this study case create a mutual respect between the populace and the researcher and the writer, and how we can create this mutual aim to create reports and awareness rate. So SMA Islam Athirah Makassar can aim this research to construct an awareness with exploratory study, and in case in regards to evaluating the cyber safety in the digital world. Now, the types of research that I'm using in this specific material is the kinds of exploratory research. Now, to put it simply, it's the precursor of knowledge. It's the dictionary of all knowledge. It's all the basic understanding of all understanding, all information and all education. That's one point or it begins, that it is on our mind to prove that further investigation for this specific matter is indeed necessary. Well, to put it lightly, first, exploratory case is by definition conducting research study with the main purpose to create more information regarding how this developing or basic understanding in the creation of more interest and regarding the subject, and that is about cybercrime. It being a precursor of a larger scale research in the future. And it is believed that exploratory case will fill the lenient criteria that are aimed to be achieved with this research paper. That with exploratory case, we indeed to create an awareness, and that is our main point. Now, let's get onto it. What is cybercrime? Simply, just like it said, a crime on cyberspace. A crime on cyberspace, but I think it's evolving over time, and we can't really clarify what's the real meaning of cybercrime itself. Cybercrime has been around for decades and for several years. Again, I mentioned there are still conflicting definitions about this particular dispute. That I can say one definition itself. ITU explained that definition for cybercrime as types of offenses regarding computer-related material, digital nor physical. Although cybercrime itself, the term is used to describe a range of many offenses, including traditional computer crimes as well as network crimes. Cybercrime itself is varying in so much cases. The varying mass of cyber destruction vary from offenses against confidentiality and content-related offenses, undescribed offenses, procedural measures, and international cooperation. It all relates to all the stakeholder, businesses, organization, how country interact with this kind of problem, how the regulator can interact with this specific matter. Now, to the main exact point of this research, where I conduct my methods, or I conduct my survey in regarding to gain beneficial reports, so we can clarify how necessary and how aware are the populace regarding cyberspace. Now, the methods I use are quantitative methods, simply because I use it as a survey. Inspired by the idea of determining analytical data through quantitative instrument, that the composed survey consists of many things. First, we got introduction that explain the background to the populace, so you can create understanding between the populace and the researcher on what the regarded problem is. And second, we give terms and equation regarding how the data will be processed. We gave this term in case the populace cannot make sure how the mutual aim can be created for this specific matter, because it is important, and it will be ironic if their data will be exploited regarding the matter of exploiting data. And the last variable itself is the multiple question questionnaire, where all of the data are being constructed, being analyzed itself. And we get to our main result, conclusion and result, where they obtain constructive and confidential data regarding the directed purposes. Where in this part, you can see there's a pattern in here. Through question 1 to question 7, there's a simple pattern that we can see. If you haven't seen it, I call it the Barnum pattern, where in question 1, you can see the orange graphic from up, going to 30 populace, answering it on the same question. The question 1 says about, are you able to protect yourself in a cybercrime situation, or able to protect yourself in a cyber attack? Where in this matter, question 1, almost like 81.1% answer that they are able. But again, when you look at question 6, where we ask again, question 5, where you ask people how protected their passwords are, it's not even half of it are answering their password still protected. This exact pattern sees that awareness rate for this specific research cannot be lied on, that this specific research is indeed true, because the pattern itself can show how this awareness rate can create a necessary proof that the induction on cybercrime is indeed important. We can also see the pattern from question 1 to question 7, where in question 1, as I said before, how aware are they to protect themselves in a cyberspace, or how aware are they to protect themselves from a cyber attack. In question 7, an opinionated query, more likely explained here that we can gain real-time analysis from the populace, and from the opinionated query, this research was able to assess populace action in a situation of very unfortunate circumstances in the digital world. While in the first category filled with zero context and ambiguity, and in this zero context itself, we can see that how the populace are still not able to protect themselves in cases of cyber attack. That is exactly 43.3%. And on the second category, we get 32.4%, where this second category are condone that these populace are aware of the problem, but they can't clarify the real-time analysis on how to do it properly in a real-time situation. Just acknowledging that this is how to do it, but they can perform the basic performance. And that is 32.4% on the second category. And on the third category itself, this is the best category we've had, even though it's only 24.3%. The third category filled with people that are aware to protect themselves, that know and how and are able to perform necessary action to preserve a basic cyber attack in cases of real life situation. And this divided category is a graphical visualization of our awareness rate in the conclusion. Now, the main conclusion is, for this research paper, it is so unfortunate that 75.7% of all sample from total populace are not experienced nor able to resolve in cases of cyber attack. That is so unlikely. Even more than half even haven't comprehended the risk they are innocently ignored, with the fortunate events of some populace where 24.3% being more than enough to resolve cyber attacks. That is why the need of spreading awareness on digital safety are indeed necessary. Now we get to our last conclusion. Where in this last conclusion, we can fathomably say that awareness rate of the populace regarding digital safety are average close to the minimum qualification and are not assured to safety in digital space. That the need of spreading awareness can also be proven from the 14 reports that I've given from this survey itself. That 14 reports has been evidently show us that the importance of learning cyber security for the populace and generally for citizens are important. The one thing I would like just to say is that one of the main cyber risks is to think they don't exist. That's all the problem where it came from. We innocently ignore that this problem exists just because the purpose it gives us. You get an app, you think it was good because the purpose of the app was evidently good, but then you realize it was a Chinese app made by the CCP, and then you realize all of your data was contradicted from the CCP itself. You meet Xi Jinping reading your entire history on your phone. And maybe that's all from me. All of this resource page can be seen over here, and you can clarify all of this resource page. I'm making this resource page as a way to create awareness for all the audience and maybe the adjudicator, so we can create an awareness rate regarding how this problem can evolve its matter and how this problem can even be interacted, can even be preserved in a matter of awareness. Combating cybercrime is not easy at all. It is evolving over time, and maybe that's all from me. Thank you.
What a great presentation from Rayhanul. Really says a lot about society and the existence of cybercrime that lives among us. Now let us continue to the Q&A session. Do the examiners have anything they want to ask to Rayhanul?
Okay, tes. Okay, Ray. First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on finishing your paper, and that's what's an excellent delivery from you. And when I saw your title, it's really interesting because it's really suitable in this year, because every transaction, every activity that we do right now is on the online and the cyber world. And I just want to ask you something. From your result, that show us that people are aware of the digital safety from your sample. Most of them is aware that digital safety is really important, but most of them, it's still being the victim of the cybercrime. And there is that conclude that there is a problem in it, and that's not the user problem. Maybe what government should do, as we know that in the cyber world, cybercrime, some people say it's the hacker, yes, but actually it's not all the hacker is the cyber criminal. Actually, there is etiquette hacker. Maybe you have already know there is an etiquette hacker, someone who do the test the vulnerable of the system, so they can find the weakness and report to the company that the weakness of the system, and then maybe the company can fix the system. That's it, the etiquette hacker. So, in your perspective, I want to ask you what the government should do to help their citizen. The citizen is aware of digital safety, but still we are vulnerable for the attack of the cyber criminal. So what the government should do to help the citizen, maybe, to overcome this problem? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the question. I much likely respect Sir Ragil itself, because he is one of the regarding actor that have been motivating me in regards to this research paper. And from the question itself, Sir Ragil said that what's my reason, what's my developing action or maybe plan solution regarding how the government should act. Now, first I would like to give some background. 2 days ago, there was a cases of cyber attack through the government that have given breach of data regarding civic acts or civic duty information and driver license and many more. And I think through that, the only government applicable solution at that time was to warn the hacker, and it was kind of stupid, but the real action for the government should do is like, they have so many talented actors in Indonesia. Especially, we have already seen how many startups have been able to complicate itself in the after pandemic, where all of the tech startup has been rising. We can use that some type of human resources to help the government. But I don't think government are using its much resources to gain that full potential from its human resources. But I do hope government can apply it for that. In my research paper, I did not give a much detailed plan on how this research can be used on or how the solution can be applied, but I did give some solution on through this research, a series attempt to develop awareness being one of its dependent variable. The beneficial reports and writings in this research are much preferred to be processed as a larger project itself, delivering its raw exploratory study case in a more consumer friendly. And even through this research paper, I hope that we can create a change even for a government itself to react about how this problem is totally real. Not one thing that we can just say, hey, hacker, stop that. And maybe that's all from me.
Okay, that's excellent idea. I just hope that government listen to your idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I
we
do
have
hope so
to do that human resource to help us. Actually, we don't say that all of the hacker is bad, but there is some of them is good. It's just want to help the company of the government, yes, to fix the weakness, the vulnerable in the cyber world. Thank you very much for Ray. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kita berikan dulu aplaus buat Ananda. Masya Allah ya, luar biasa. Jadi di sebelah saya pakai bahasa Inggris, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia supaya seimbang. Ya, oke, Ananda saya dengar akan ke Perancis ya. Kemana Inggris ya? Perancis.
Cambridge, ya.
Ya?
Inggris.
Inggris, Masya Allah. Saya doakan Anda jadi anak yang soleh, sukses dunia akhirat, amin. Baik, Anda ada 3 pertanyaan dari saya. Jadi yang pertama adalah dengan adanya cybercrime ini menandakan kita sebagai orang Indonesia ya, sebenarnya kita memiliki kreativitas yang tinggi. Dengan kreativitas kita ini, menurut Ananda, apakah ini sudah tepat atau belum? Ya. Terus yang kedua, setelah Ananda mengetahui terjadinya peretasan data, ya, solusi apa yang Anda berikan kepada sekolah atau pemerintah untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut? Oke, ya. Terus yang ketiga, apa yang menyebabkan pelaku cybercrime ini sulit ditindak secara hukum? Ya, oke, thank you. Silakan.
Okay, thank you for the educator giving me a very interesting question itself, a challenging one for sure. The first one regarding creativity itself, I did not undermine the creativity of Indonesian people itself regarding even in tech industry, because I think the tech industry human resources even in Indonesia are one that we can lightly respect on. There's this ranks on cybersecurity itself. We're ranked on 83, I think, 83 on GCSI on cybersecurity globally. They were on 83. I mean, that's not bad for a developing country, but for our creativity on that matter itself, I think we're putting it at full potential, but we're still not taking it lightly on cybercrime itself. We're seeing so much tech startup making so many creative innovation itself. That one is I very much admire. But the thing is, much of these tools or startup given innovation are not protected with its own base protection or layer of protection, and they are not undermining that because they think they're not a worthy target, and I think that's one of the problem itself. On the second question regarding, what was it? May I reapply for the second question?
Pertanyaan kedua itu, setelah Ananda mengetahui terjadinya peretasan data, solusi apa yang Anda berikan kepada sekolah atau pemerintah untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut?
Okay.
Yes.
On the second question, I did put some lightly explained solution on my chapter 5 regarding how the data should be in a serious attempt of developing this research paper to create awareness. This research paper should be conducted and processed as a larger project to create a more consumer-friendly product. Maybe with this data, you can create seminar to create awareness. You can create so many information or create more information, create more interest so that people can understand and even develop more information regarding this specific matter. And indeed, with more interest in this specific matter, we can create a resolving issue on how people might protect more of themselves in the digital space. And on the third question, can you redo it again?
Yang ketiga, pertanyaan ketiga, apa yang menyebabkan pelaku cybercrime itu sulit ditindaklanjuti secara hukum?
Personally, I think that the cybercrime itself or cybercriminals that have been appearing on the surface right now, especially on the headline that I've shown today, it was the problem from the government that they not apply a real governing issue or a real regulator to regulate this specific matter. They only use UU ITE as a way of conducting solution, but I did not think that was enough. In this research paper, I also conducted a preference that we can use or the government can use as a way to create more regulation regarding cybercrime, where in this specific preference, there's full of explanation on what the specific conduction or the specific law that should be implemented and how to reduce or even prevent this specific matter. But I think more regulation should just be added and not easily relying on UU ITE and maybe get more human resources. And think, yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much. Kita tepuk tangan teman.
That is the end of the Q&A session. Now let us continue to the next session, mainly the awarding of a certificate of merit with Ms. Farah Nanda Amana Puribima, S.Pd, M.Pd, as the homeroom teacher and Rayhanul's parents. Alright, that is all the time we have for this current session. I give my thanks to the examiners and the audiences. I, as the moderator, will excuse myself. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.